Today we're going to be looking for 5 teams which you can build in Football Manager 2024. So welcome to the episode and thank you for joining me. My name is Paul, also known as the Northman. If you are new here, please make sure you do go down and subscribe. As I'm recording this, we're only days away from the full release of FM24. And this is why this video suggestion has been put out for teams to build for when the full game comes out on Monday. Now, I am going to be doing a Build a Nation series. The nation has not been revealed yet, but it's going to be a fun one. It's close to home, shall we say. It's a team which is close to home. Okay, so the first team in these 5 clubs you can build in Football Manager 2024 is Dover Athletic. Now, if we go into the history side of things, on the general, you can see that they were a team looking at promotion to the Football League only a few years ago. The last time I would say was in 2019-20, coming mid-table in the National League. You are still only a couple of signings away from that next step. But as you can see, they got relegated in 21-22, and then they finished in 20th place. They are now predicted by the media to come 24th. 24th in the National League South. And with a season preview of 350 to 1, they are the worst ranked by media from the National League North and National League South. So you have a true challenge on your hands. Now financially, you have 80,000 in the bank, no transfer budget, and you have £400 on wages available. In terms of debt, there's no debt, so that is a positive. You do have the ability to invest in the team without worrying about debt. Now, the problem you've got is, it's quite a small squad, shall we say. You have one goalkeeper, and he's on loan, and he's only 19. He's on loan from Bournemouth, and I wouldn't say he's a world beater, but let's put it this way, he's better than your other goalkeeper. I mean, maybe you can look at playing a 4-2-4 because you've got quite a lot of strikers. You've got a few midfielders, no wide men. I would say you've got 2 wide men there. But Dembele is naturally wow, he is bad. Oh my days, I can't believe he is earning £200 a week. Gives us all faith, all hope. But they are a team struggling. Now, I do always tick add players to playable teams. So what you will find is it has filled in a few youth players. And this is a real player. But if we go on age-wise, you can normally see which ones are the Nugents. But what I would suggest maybe is ticking that button when you are starting to make sure you do at least fill out the youth team, just to give you a bit more options and give you a starting intake, shall we say. But Dover Athletic expected to fight bravely against relegation. They have very little available to bring in players. They have no players available. And they 350 to 1 in the National League South. Challenge accepted. So the next team we're going to look at is probably the highest reputation, expectation-wise team of the lot, and that is Red Star FC. Now, weirdly, I'm sure I had their badge, so I'm quite interested where that's disappeared to. But Red Star FC, they are based in Paris, so you have Paris FC and that other team, Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, they're the ones with all the money. So you've kind of got a local derby battle going to be going on between yourself, Paris FC, and PSG. So not only are you having a race from the lowest tier you can manage in France to the top tier, but then you have to overthrow your city rivals in PSG. Now, they have been an up and down team, only just narrowly missing out on promotion last year, and the board do expect you to do it in the season coming up, finish in the top 4 places. So you are expected to finish in top 4. But when I went through, when I started this up, it said expected to win promotion. Okay, we'll take that. We'll take that. Top 4 means you can narrowly miss out on promotion again. Hey, happy days. In terms of their squad, there's a little bit more depth than Dover, but not too much, to be honest with you. In terms of potential, you've got a quite old squad. If we're going age-wise, there's not a single player in the first team squad under the age of 21, which is a bit of a shock. And 22, he's a loan player, couple there, but they've got a very old squad, so maybe a squad that you need to redesign and redevelop. Now, you start with 827k in the bank, 33k wage budget, but you spend 35, so you need to get that down. You have no debt, which is nice, so you can focus on just your financial side of things. Get the debt down and rebuild this club and look to get promotion. Now, they do have a B team, which is full of players. Are they full of talent? That's another question. You've got a goalkeeper here who's only 20, who definitely is decent. You've got a left back here who, I mean, he's not the worst at the age of 16. I definitely could see him developing into a lot of 10s and 11s attribute-wise. Not so many players in the youth team. Samuel Vidal is a Nugent, so not even worth mentioning, but he actually looks quite decent. Maybe you'll get somebody like that through in your intake. But for me, Paris FC, they are the highest expectation of the teams I've selected. But at the same time, if you're looking to build a club, but get there quickly, maybe this is the one for you in terms of, I reckon you could be in the second tier in Season 2. Then by Season 5 or 6, you could be looking to push into the top flight of French football and then keep going from there. So let me know if Paris FC, I was going to say Red Star FC in Paris is the team for you. So next up, I've gone with SC Verl from Germany. Now, they play in the third tier of German football. And I'm going to admit this now, my hands are up. One of the reasons I picked them is that I think their stadium looks like a proper non-league ground. And I quite liked it. It might not be the best reason to pick a team, but I'm going with it. That's the reason I went with. Now, in terms of the club, they've been a fourth and fifth tier side for a long time, but they've been up in the third tier for the last 3 seasons now. This is going to be their 4th season, and after a 10th place finish last year, I think you can push on. Now, you are expected to finish mid-table, which would indicate between 14th and 12th, 10th they would find acceptable, but in my opinion, top 10 is possible. And the fact that you're in the third tier, kind of like Red Star, means that if you can, in the second, third season, get into that second tier, you're going to be coming up against potentially teams like Hertha Berlin, Hamburg, with a stadium which is a 5,000 capacity, with a proper non-league team, and having the ability to punch above your weight, having the ability to create history with SC Verl, and I think it's an exciting challenge with them. Now, they do the same as Red Star, don't have many youngsters in their team, but the difference is the oldest player's 30, so if anything, they've got a team full of people who are in their prime, and they have the ability to give you a foundation to build. And when you look at a couple of players, I mean, this guy's came in from is it from Hanover? Yeah, he was RB Leipzig till 22, and then he went to Hanover for a season, and he's now come to SC Verl. But he looks very talented. You've got a central defender here who looks okay. You've got a central attacking mid who looks decent. Goalkeeper here at the age of 22 looks very solid. This is the type of club that I think I would take charge of. This is the type of club who interests me and makes me think this is a type of build that I would enjoy. Now, financially, you have 150,000 in the bank. You're spending 55.5 of 57.5, so you do have 2k to spend on wages. And again, they have no debt, which just gives you a position to settle down and get your feet under the table. And I feel like this is a club for that. Mid-table expectation. Get your feet under the table, settle down, learn all of the players, learn who they are, then move on from there. Is SC Verl the club for you? So the next club is FC Pro Vercelli 1892, and I guess we could say a fallen giant in the list with 7 Serie A titles. I mean, the last one came, I think it was in 1922. They were probably the best team of the early 1900s. And yeah, they are a club, a yo-yo club, I guess we could say at the minute. So as you can see, they've gone up between the 4th tier, straight up from the 3rd tier to the 2nd tier, down again, back up. Few years in the 2nd tier, now back down in the 3rd tier, and last season finishing 15th. They really are a 3rd tier side again. Now, you are expected to finish in the playoffs, but that's pretty much half the division. It's quite difficult to see on the screen. If you go to the rules side, though, you can see here, 11th place gets in a playoff, 10th place guaranteed. So you're expected to come in the playoffs, which basically means don't get relegated and you've got an opportunity to get into the playoffs, basically. So I think when you see reach playoffs, you think, oh, they're expected to be up and around near the top. They just aren't. And when you go into the squad side of things, they have some young talent, a couple of teenagers in there. This goalkeeper here, 18 years old, I mean, he just looks like he could develop into a talent. He also looks like Football Manager went down all of his mentals and just clicked 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. But apart from that, he looks really talented at the age of 18. 100% could be a player. 6'2" as well, by the way. Interested to see how he would develop. And then you've got a striker as well who mentally and physically isn't the best, but technically has it all to lead the line for you or start from the wing and definitely get you some goals and assists. Now, you do have an under-20s, which is absolutely rammed, and an under-18s, which is fairly full as well. So I can imagine you're spending quite a bit of your wages are on them youth teams. You bang on your wage budget at the minute. You do have 200k to spend and 2.5 million in the bank. But in my opinion, the best thing you can do over the first season is go through all of them youth team players and work out which ones just don't have the ability to stay. Make sure you set them for release. Make sure you don't give them a new contract. And you could end up saving 10,000 going into the second season just from that alone. Never mind first team players you don't want. And then long term, you really can reinvest in this team and take them back up the divisions and try to add the 8th Serie A title. So the final team, we are going to Morocco. And this is one of 2 clubs who are based on the African continent who are playing in Spanish football. So we are going with Melilla. I feel like I nailed it. Now, the reason I've picked them is they are ranked lower than the other team. So, in my brain, that makes sense that these are the bigger build. The other team is Ceuta, who are also playing in the same division, but are expected to finish, I think, mid-table, where we are expected to finish 17th. So, we've picked this team, 6,000 capacity stadium. As I say, they are playing in Morocco, but playing in the Spanish league system. And I just find that fascinating. That could you take a club based in Morocco to the UEFA Champions League title? Could you win the European Cup with an African-based side? Now let's have a look around, shall we then? So they have been a 3rd tier side for quite a long time, but they did go down to the 4th tier, but have come straight back up at the second time of asking. Now, expectation-wise this season is to avoid relegation. Now, the bottom 5 teams go down, so you do need to make sure you are playing well. You're expected to battle against relegation, and 5 teams go down. Now, you are expected to finish in 19th according to the media. That's weird. So that says 19th, okay? Bear with me. We're going to Club Info. Media prediction 17th. But this season preview is based on the media prediction, I thought. Okay, challenge is even harder. So you're expected to finish in 19th place. Challenge accepted, everyone. So as you can see, they've got a fairly okay team. They have, 6 players over the age of 30. So they do have a squad you can work with. Not many youngsters in that squad, though. In terms of talent, you have David Suarez, who is a player who you own. The other 2 best potential-wise are on loan. And just looking at them, they're not world beaters. This guy looks quite decent, to be fair. Ability-wise, you do have this central attacking mid who is your best player. Jose Antonio Gonzalez, he looks quite good, to be honest with you. And if we go on to the youth teams, one thing I'm curious about, go away. One thing I'm curious about is, do you have many? So you do have a Moroccan there, but that's yeah, you do have a Moroccan there, but mainly the all Spanish who come through. I'm just curious if, will you get a lot of African players coming through your intake? That's one of the things which kind of interests me about this club. Will you get a lot of African, Moroccan, maybe other nationalities from Africa coming through your intake? If you take charge of this team, make sure you do let me know that. Now, financially, they're not in the best position. 51k in the bank, but they're spending over the wage bill by £1,000 a week. Now, you have no debt again, so I have picked teams who are financially going to be okay, but you will still lose money each week if you don't control yourself. £1,000 over means you're probably going to have to look to sell before you can buy. And when you are battling to survive in a division, are you in a position to sell? You need to invest in the team. You need to develop the team. You need to improve the team. So is Melilla the club for you? Make sure you do go down in that comments and let me know. Is this the team you want to take charge of? Do you think you can keep them in the third tier? And do you think you can make them the first African-based club to win the UEFA Champions League? I've been Paul, also known as the Northman. They have 5 teams that I recommend for a build in FM24.